As of right now, I am super close to 100,000 subscribers, and if this video gets 25,000 likes, I will rip the meanest burnout possible in the Lamborghini. That's right, I will completely burn out and possibly even pop my 335 R888s. I did get a lot of questions in the previous video on whether or not my wing broke, and as far as I know, the wing is perfectly fine. Today I'm just going to be doing some little things on the Lamborghini, some maintenance stuff. It is rusting a little bit more than I would prefer. At some point in time, I would like to get the Lamborghini completely sandblasted and then clear coated so it's one consistent kind of texture, but right now I gotta go to the store. I gotta get this chemical called Rust Mort that I've talked about in a couple previous videos. Now another thing is these exhaust tips are absolutely pissing me off. I need to weld these in the position that I want them in, because whenever I drive it they kind of get sucked in, which is a lot better than them falling out, but it's just kind of annoying. I don't know if you guys saw, my lip is kind of like just barely holding on, and that's because whenever I went on the trailer to go to the Primal meet, my lip kind of went up against the trailer and it kind of just pulled it out a little bit, so I need to re-screw my lip back into place because it's just hanging a little bit. Now obviously I can't expect this thing not to rust, as it's pretty much entirely bare metal, but using this Rust Mort stuff I can prevent it without having too much maintenance. This stuff, I really just wipe it on. It takes off the surface rust for the most part. And then as you've seen, I haven't put this stuff on for the longest time. I haven't really touched any of the metal for a really long time. And you see that it definitely has patina, but there's really not too much surface rust other than on the flares and some other things that I've done since the last time I've done this. So that's why I really like this. This bottle's not really too cheap. It's about $30, but that's what it costs. It's not really too much. This will do the whole car at least once, and it makes the metal last. I think it gives it a cool look. So I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like when I apply it. Look at how amazing that is. This is exactly how that side was. Obviously there's still some like where there's pitting and you can't really get in there too much. I could clean it more, but this is good enough. And now see, all I gotta do is do the rest of this, do the fender flares. Might do it a little bit here, but for the most part I just wanted to get that part and the fender flares, the only two parts that I haven't done since I last did that. And then I know I'll get this question, but this chemical also isn't harmful to any rubbers or anything else, so I'm able to use it with all the stuff that's on the car right now. Now I'm sure this chemical will harm some things. It does dry out my hands and stuff, but I'm able to pour it, not worry about getting on the tires, the lips, or anything, and it doesn't damage it or any kind of other stuff. So if you have a little bit nicer car that has paint or something, I don't know if it takes off paint, but it's pretty good about not kind of melting rubbers or anything like a goof off or some kind of chemical like that would. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and continue and do the whole rest of the car, and then we'll move on. I got to weld those tips on so they quit moving around on me. Then I'm going to have to screw that lip back in, make sure that stays in place. As you can see, look at how clean this metal is. Anywhere where there's a rub there and a rub there, I don't know what it did. Maybe it just burnt the oil that was on the metal, and that's where it kind of wants to rust there. Wherever you put your fingers, this side is not too clean. I don't really worry about it, but This fender for some reason has a bunch of finger marks. You can see that they're still there. Obviously the salt in your fingers completely ruins the metal. That up there, since it doesn't really get touched, isn't too bad. Here I tried to clean this up a little bit. You see I got it on the lens here, but it does nothing, and this is just spray paint. Here I tried to clean up a little bit, but you see lots of fingerprints, so it's kind of hard to get that part out. I didn't really clean this too much, but main thing was the fenders, get those looking good again. Now, first thing I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to take off this wing so I'm able to actually open my trunk entirely and get to the backs of these tips. Now, these are painted. I'm just gonna grind them down a little bit on the tabs that are there to help kind of clamp down, but obviously these tips are made for a little bit bigger tubing, and it kind of just slides in and out. It's just not enough, and I don't really want to put like any kind of like tape as a spacer because it does get a little hot. Well, that was simple enough. Now the tips shouldn't move too much. They're in there pretty good. So a few more maintenance things I've got to do, and that is the lip and probably roll the fenders. This is what I am talking about. You can see huge chunks of my Toyo R888s getting peeled up. It's not getting past the tread, but it's just, it is absolutely destroying them, and it's this metal up in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these wheels off when I raise it to be able to take off the lip, because you can see here that it pulled through whenever I was on the trailer, because it kind of just yanked it down. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the wheels off, roll those fenders, put the lip back on properly, and then that's probably it for today. Now you see all this, you can see I did it here, but I'm going to continue what I did here all the way across here just so it stops cutting into my tire. Maybe I can actually see where it's cutting into my tire. I believe it's cutting into my tire whenever I turn that way. Or here. I can see it all right here. Yeah, so I'm just going to bend all that just so it has a little bit softer space to hit against the tire, so I'm not ruining the tires too much. And then also, I'm sure you guys have noticed by now that one of my kind of screen thingies did fall off, so now it looks kind of odd because there's one that's amber and one that's not. So I'm gonna have to order another one of those, and that way I'll be matching again, because those things are pretty awesome, but they are also really bright, and when they do fall back like they were before I just adjust them right now, they do get in people's eyes and they are very bright. We're pretty much done. All we gotta do is lower this thing, and that's it for today. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and peace out.